And we welcome you back to the Thundercast. We have Jeremy Jones from Evansville North. Jeremy, how are you doing on this fine evening?
Doing good, Nick. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Oh yeah, no problem. All right, let's get it started. Sorry for that voice crack. But the first question is entering this season as previous state runner ups, what did you guys work on like to try to win it all this year? Although the season ended in semi-state.
It was kind of funny. Last year was just one of those years that we didn't hit a whole lot, and the years, maybe the last 5 years before that, that's all we did was hit. But our pitching and defense last year just really took a step up, and so we kind of went on that run, just not expecting what was going to happen, and then we just kept finding ways to win and win, and then we got to semi-state and we knocked off North Central, and then just kind of found a way in extras to beat Center Grove, and then all of a sudden we're at Victory Field, and so it was just an incredible experience. The great thing was we had 6 starters coming back into this season that was on that team. Now the negative was we only had about 30 innings coming back on the mound. And so we had a lot of question marks as far as who was going to throw for us this year. I felt better about the offense. But kind of looking back, I think the experience just as a whole of what happened with us in the postseason and having the chance to go to Victory Field, it just it ramped up our work ethic. And it just gave the guys a goal they wanted to get back, and unfortunately fell just a little bit short this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. Yeah. So what I was doing that day, so that day like that you guys made I mean the day that you guys beat Center Grove last year at Mooresville. So I think it was the first or second game. I'm pretty sure it was the second game, but I went to the Center Grove Franklin game. I'd like to cheer on Franklin. Then I don't remember what I did like for the rest of the day, but when I saw you guys won, I'm like, okay, so there is a really upset right there, Evansville North. Be And I say that because I didn't know like how good like you guys were until this year. Like when I was saying, Evansville North is going to be the best team in the state. Evansville North, right now, is the best team in the state up until the semi-state championship. So then the second question is, what was special about this Husky team?
I have to say our seniors, just such a great group, just a special group. Over their 4 years, these guys won 100 games, which is incredibly difficult to do. They won 3 conference titles, a pair of sectionals, pair of regionals. We're just one hit away from going back to Victory Field last year. That was probably the most fun. I love that group. And again, these last couple of years, these guys are just so tight. They do everything together. When we're not at the field, they're playing cards together. They're hitting in the batting cages together. These guys they love baseball and they love being around each other. And as a coach, it's just fun to see because when the guys get to practice, they're ready to work, they're ready to get better, and that's kind of the driving force. And when your best players are your hardest workers, it just sets that bar so high that everybody sees that. And if you want to play, you better be working as hard as Brooks Carroll, or you wouldn't be working as hard as Ty Pole or AJ Baggett or the guys that we have. And if you don't, you're just not going to play. And that's kind of the culture we have right now. The greatest thing about this season, is a negative losing, although get to semi-state's always cool, is we have just about everybody back next season. We've got 7 starters back. We have our whole pitching staff back. We're actually going to add an arm that had Tommy John that's throwing now. He's 88 to 91. Aaron Humphrey was our first baseman. So we, conceivably could have 4 guys that are throwing 90 next year. And so we're super excited. If we could start practice right now, I think we would.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, I love the coaches. I love the kids. It's fun to be in our program right now.
Yeah. So these past few years, you guys have played really good Center Grove teams. Do you think there is a rivalry brewing against you guys?
It'd be nice to say there was because you always look at the rankings and everything. Center Grove is always the best team. Center Grove just has exceptional players. I think Coach Hatfield does a wonderful job over there. Seeing these guys in the postseason has been, I've coached. This is my 20th year, just finishing up as a head coach, And those two Center Grove games that we played, I mean, I would put those in the top two. They were just incredibly well played baseball games, high level kids, high level talent, just back and forth, big crowds. It's just fun baseball. It's fun to watch. And, I got a feeling those guys are going to be right back there next year. Probably going to run into them again at some point. And so, it's fun. Anytime you get to play good baseball, high level baseball, it's always a fun thing. And so, I hopefully we're back in that same situation where we're at semi-state next year, and I'm sure those guys feel the same. So,
Yeah. So, okay, this next question I'm going to ask, is not on the list because it just popped up in my mind. How did it feel this year how did it feel this year, to technically host semi-state? Because you guys didn't have to travel that far.
no, it was a strange year actually, because our sectional is at Bossy Field in Evansville, and then we got to play the regional at Bossy Field. We thought we'd be sent to Floyd Central, and so that was kind of a big surprise for us being able to play at Bossy Field. And man, our crowd has really traveled well. Our student section has been incredible. And then when we found out that we're going to be at UE, that was one of the coolest things ever. When if the people that were at the Center Grove game and our Bloomington South game, UE was completely packed. There wasn't a seat to be had. There was overflow, just people standing all around the stadium. It holds, I think, 1,700 inside the stadium. It was probably closer to 2,000 people at the game. And so anytime you have that was huge. Last year we were up at Mooresville, and an incredible facility. And we did have fans travel, but not like we saw playing those games at Braun Stadium at UE. That was it was really neat to see, and I think it really helped our guys. We fed off the energy of the crowd.
Yeah. Do you think okay, so this is the next question is, after winning the game against CG and semi-state this year, what did you guys work on to face Bloomington South for the second time?
We'd seen him just a couple weeks before, and we saw Hemingway, the kid that started against us in that game. And kind of looking back, all week we had prepped to see Grant, and we knew Grant was going to be 95 to 97, and so we were really pumping the machines up and just telling our guys we had to be quick. And then when we came back and we saw Hemingway in the championship game, he's a 4-pitch pitcher. He relies a lot on his off speed, his changeup in particular. And that differential, kind of in speed threw us off a little bit. And I'll say we were really lunge heavy, especially early in the game. But I thought Hemingway got better as the game went on. And we just couldn't adjust offensively. Now, obviously, our pitchers did a tremendous job in the game. We threw a no-hitter and somehow found a way to lose that game. But anytime you leave 11 guys on base, you're not going to win too many of those games. And it was just one of those nights that we hit some balls hard. Nothing seemed to fall in. And boy, it was just a tough way to go out.
Yeah. Do you think the rain delay during the semi-state championship game brought down the energy of the entire team?
I don't know, because we came back. We had actually struggled in the first inning against Hemingway. We come back and we go back-to-back singles. But credit to Bloomington South. Their center fielder made a one-hop throw to the plate, threw us out in the top of the second inning to keep it a 0-0 game. So not sure if the rain delay really hurt us at all. AJ went back out and he threw, just as good as he did in the end of the Center Grove game. And, he gave us everything that he had. It was just, it was just one of those nights. Looking back at it, that we just had so many opportunities. We tried suicide squeezing, we tried safety squeezing. We couldn't get anything to kind of drop in there. But again, Bloomington South is an incredible team. Going into that, they're a top 5 team in the state. And, they have 13 seniors in that group. They've got a great coach in Phil Klusner. And, we just saw a team that was better than us that night.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm not going to ask the second question. So I'm not going to ask the next question because you already kind of touched on it right there. So now to the fun questions. What went into bringing Mooresville down there? What went into bringing Mooresville down, to play those 2 games against you guys and Gibson?
Well, that was kind of just a unique situation. Gibson Southern's coaching staff is actually buddies with the Mooresville coaching staff. And so they ended up, Gibson asked us if we would be willing to do kind of a 3-team round robin, but they had an event going on at their place on that Saturday. And so we were able to, we were open on that May date, and so we brought all three
Mhm.
of those teams down there. And really, what we've tried to do the last couple years is the date that Mooresville came down, and then a week later we had Guerin Catholic, Pendleton Heights, and Silver Creek come over as well. Is try to set up a schedule that's going to be like semi-state, so to kind of get our guys ready to go. You may play an early game and have to sit around 6 or 7 hours and play later on. And so being able to play high quality teams at the end of the season, like Gibson Southern, like
Mhm.
Mooresville, like Guerin Catholic, just kind of amps up your guys and it gets them ready to go for the postseason. So we were really fortunate that everything kind of worked out, and it's always fun playing new teams. In Mooresville in particular, just a great coaching staff, and that was just a fun day of baseball all the way around.
Yeah. So then the next question, like, is in line with that. So is there any talk between both Mooresville and Evansville North to bring Mooresville back into the schedule
I
next
would
year?
love to, and we could always go up and play at Mooresville as well. We don't mind. We don't mind traveling. I love the Mooresville field. It's a really cool facility, and so yeah, we'd love to have Mooresville on the schedule every year. You always want to play better teams,
Yeah,
especially that second half of the season. And so Mooresville is going to be a top 10 team every year, and so that'd be a great team for us to play.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so going off from what you said that day, how big of a problem were the birds in the dugout like this season?
So we have just, and if you've never been to Evansville North before, it's kind of wide open. There's a lot of cornfields around. We have a lot of wind, but it seemed like every late or April, early May, we have birds that nest in the upper part of the dugout. We've tried everything. We've tried little fencing. We've put fake snakes up there. We've tried owls. Nothing seems to work. It drives us nuts. It drives other teams nuts. We're constantly dealing with bird poop that's on our dugout. We
Mhm.
try to pressure wash it at least once a week, but yeah, we haven't found the solution yet. So if there's anybody that can help us out at North trying to get rid of these birds, I would be more than happy to talk to you and bring you in to help us out there.
Yeah. Okay, so are there any changes to the baseball state tournament like you would like to be changed or worked on?
I- I'm a proponent of seeding, and I think the postseason tournament should be seeded to give you some sort of reward for what's happening. For example, Mooresville and Center Grove. You guys played in the second game of the
Mhm.
sectional. That should be the sectional championship. We ran into Castle in the first game of our sectional. In theory, if you look at the two teams throughout the season, that should probably be the sectional championship game. And so
Mhm.
I think seeding makes sense. I think it's going to lead to higher attendance numbers in the postseason, and I think it's going to lead to some better matchups. And again,
Mhm.
it gives you incentive to go out and schedule better teams because that's going to influence kind of how you're ranked with strengths of schedule in there. And so you have teams that don't play anybody, but their record looks really good, as opposed to teams that go out and try to schedule Mooresville or Center Grove or whomever to kind of get that competition. So that would be the biggest thing that I would want to see done is having seating.
Uh, I have to absolutely agree with you there. Every sport definitely needs seating because every sport definitely needs seating. Now, the only sport that I think only one class needs that seating, like, is 6A football. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of guys would agree with me. That class uh that I think 6A football and maybe 5A football also needs to be seated. But
Well,
yeah.
and I think especially with baseball,
Mhm.
because you rely on pitching, and pitching is so important. Well, some of these sectionals have 6, 7 teams on there where you've got to play, in theory, 3 games, and so you would rather have your better arm going in the sectional championship game. And if it was seeded, that would be something that we would see.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because the big factor, like with seeding, like for baseball, is like if every team is seeded like for the sectional, what could happen? What could happen is that each team like could save their best pitcher until the sectional championship, which would definitely work. With
Yeah. And I don't
yeah,
think it's going to be really hard to do. I mean, I think
no.
seeding would be an easy thing to do. You could use your max
Hmm.
preps, your twister rankings. I think there's easy solutions out there to do it. in a fair way.
Yeah. All right. The next question is, what games this season were your favorite?
We played. It's funny. I talked to our pitching coach last night, and we were kind of going into how many great baseball games we played this season. We played Garin Catholic, and that was in our tournament. We lost to those guys 1-0. Had a little bit of a rain delay. They had a homer in the seventh, but that's a team that goes on and wins the whole thing in 3A. We played Mater Dei at Bosse Field. That was a conference game for us. It was a 0-0 game in the seventh with 2 outs. Our right fielder hit a ball off the wall. We ended up winning 2-0, and that was a lot of fun. We played Gibson Southern twice. Both those games just had a lot of people at, and that was a ton of fun as well. Having Mooresville, at our place was exceptional. Anytime you go to Jasper and play, that's fun as well. So there was just a lot of really good baseball games, especially the second half of the season for us in the regular season. That was just a lot of fun. Now, if you go in the postseason, the Castle game was incredible. That was a game that both teams, we kind of went back and forth, and we had to score some runs in extra innings to win. We were down to Jeff 3-1 in the fourth in regionals, had to fight our way back to win as well. And then, of course, I would look at the Center Grove game as kind of the game of the year for us, winning 2-0 against Grant, who's out there throwing 95-97, and that lineup is just stacked.
Yeah. So this is the last one of the day, but I ask every coach, manager, and player this. Of the stadiums that you coached at, which ones are the top of the list for you?
Jasper. For sure. Jasper for me. I love the venue. I love the elevated seating that they have. They've got a new video scoreboard down in right now. They put a wiffle ball, like a turf wiffle ball field behind left field. That's just the coolest thing ever. So playing at Jasper's neat. I playing at Mooresville. There's so many. I've rewatched that game, against Center Grove last year at Mooresville. That was a really unique place to play as well. That was a lot of fun. Now, Victory Field, can I use that as my favorite place? Because that place was all right as well. But there's a lot of just really cool stadiums that we get to play at, in high school baseball. This weekend we're going up. The North South's going to happen this weekend at Loeb Stadium. Lafayette Jeff gets to play there, and that's a really cool place as well. A lot of teams are kind of moving to turf. We have grass at our place, but I think I'm starting to get up there in years. I think turf's sounding pretty good. You go just kind of roll out there and go, but a lot of fun places to play at.
Yeah. So, okay, the first thing is I did not realize that the North South All Star game was this weekend. I
Yeah.
did not. I did not think it was that quick.
The
But then
reason.
this. What?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. But uh, but then the other thing I was gonna say is with the favorite stadiums thing, so on my ranked list that I posted, but that I posted before sectionals, I had Jasper at number one. Jasper is definitely my favorite field that I've been to because of the nice looking dugouts, really good turf, really good seating, and of course that wiffle ball field, in left field because after our game against Martinsville, the second game, before we came home that day, in that tournament, like uh, we all met right right next to that field. Right next to that wiffle ball field, and I'm like, that is really cool. That's turf. And now for the grass fields, for me, I think Evansville North, is definitely one of my favorite ones. My favorite grass field has to be Cathedral, because now yes, Cathedral does not have lights, but Cathedral's field is really nice. And I'm a really huge fan of their dugouts. There are two dugout sections. One above ground, then the other part, is what the coaches and players call the dungeon, because it's underground with fencing. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, yeah, that dugout like is pretty sweet, it, it, and I do have to tell you one of my favorite moments at Evansville North, like when I went down there this year, what was drinking a American Dew like underneath the American flag. Uh, uh, then so I actually ended up posting my story. I'm like, nothing's more American than drinking like an American Dew underneath the American flag.
That's awesome. That's I would say Bloomington South too. I really like going to Bloomington South and playing. They've got a neat setup as well.
Yeah. I have never been to any of the Bloomingtons, but I will. But I am definitely okay. Scratch that. I've been to Bloomington North for like for football, like for scrimmage, but I've never been to any of the Bloomington baseball fields. But I will be going to Bloomington North like this upcoming year with them now being in the Mid-State Conference. So well, that was a great episode. Thank you for joining. Coming up this week, folks. Tomorrow we have the Lake Central head coach joining us, and Wednesday we have Andy Weaver from Zionsville joining us, and a very special announcement coming up this fall is the Mid-State Coaches Show with all the football coaches of the Mid-State Conference. Well, Jeremy, thank you for joining, have have a great rest of your summer and time to get back to work.
Thanks, Nick. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.